What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at and reviewing set 75158, the Rebel Combat Frigate. This set released back in 2016 for 110 USD, but now if you wanted to buy it today in 2024, it's going to cost you upwards of 500 USD sealed in box. This set has 936 pieces and 5 minifigures. So without further ado, let's get right on into this review. Starting off with the combat frigate itself, I think this build overall looks really nice. It really captures what it is shown in the show. I think it's pretty accurate, and I think it's a pretty sizable build. From what it looks like on the box, you'd think it would be kind of small, but it's got a pretty large width, and there's a lot of nice room on this. It's lacking in some areas that we'll get to in a little bit, but starting off on the exterior, you're greeted by this very nice printed cockpit. This is an exclusive to this set, and I think it looks really nice. I think the color matching with the other bricks as well is really good. I think that piece is really sick, and it's probably one of the highlights of this build itself. I think it really brings it together, that rounded front. I think it looks really nice. And if you come to the other side, on either side you have these rotating kind of guns right here with the little flick fire missiles that you can shoot off. And if you don't like how those look, you can always take them off, which is always nice. Now the cockpit, I will say, because it is built with Technic, there's a little bit of give right here where there's a small gap. You can see it's supposed to be held up like that, but it kind of slacks down like that, which isn't a big deal. You can't really see it from afar, but if you're looking up close, it's definitely something to make note of. Now as we move to the sides, now there's not really too much detailing going on here given that this is a set from 2016, so I will give it a little bit of slack, but I think they did a pretty good job with the greebling on this. I think it comes together pretty nicely. There's not really much to look at or talk about on the sides. It really is just a gray ship. I like the small kind of inclusions of the other cylinders. I think this is supposed to be like the loading bay or the escape pod area, which does look really nice. And as you move along to the sides, you also have this whole mechanism in the back that we will get to in just a moment. But if you come to the top, there's some nice detailing with some stickers. There's not too many stickers in this set, which is nice because I am not a big fan of stickers. And then we move on to the kind of center area. We got some more detailing, and then we have the little like carrying thing, which is really nice. It's really sturdy. You can shake this around and it's not going to fall at all, which is nice. This is a bigger set. I will say one of the complaints that I do have is when you drop this down at rest, it's angled forward, and I think that kind of just takes away from the overall silhouette and build of this set. It's not a big deal. It's just, for me, it kind of looks off a little bit, but it's not that bad. I mean, I would have preferred if they had made it lay flat so it's not like coming out like this, but I think it's okay at the end of the day, and I really do like the inclusion of it because it allows you to carry this around really nicely, and you can swish it around like you're flying the ship, which is really fun. Now, as we move over, we have the bridge at the top. Now, I know there are people out there who don't like that the bridge is so small, but what do you expect? To keep it in scale, it has to be very small. Here is Ezra standing next to it just for scale. He's bigger than it is, but you can't really get it in scale in the size that this would be, or else it would have had to have been a huge set. But I don't think it looks that bad. I think there is some nice detailing there, and I like the inclusion of the sticker on top and the little dish on the side, and the trans blue looks really nice for the use of the windows. Now we'll move along to the back of this build. We have the thrusters. Now this is where the major play feature is. Now in the back folded up, that's what it looks like. It looks pretty cool, but if you want to put this in I guess attack mode, you can give it a little twist and it goes open just like that. It's really cool. Now there is a fair amount of Technic in building that place. I know there's some people out there who aren't a fan of Technic, so if you're not a fan of Technic, this build probably isn't for you. It's not a ton, but it's definitely a noticeable amount, but it comes out really well, and you can kind of just twist it and turn it and it goes like that. It looks really nice. It's super easy to do. It's not tight or anything like that. And you see it from the sides when it opens up just like this. It looks pretty cool, and you can also, display it and have it look like that. I think it looks better with them open, so it does look really cool, and I don't know, I'm a big fan of that feature. And the last little thing that we have to touch on are our little stud shooters on the top, which I also think are really nice. Now, we'll close this up and we'll move to the interior. Now, I think given the size of the ship, I think the interior was done very well. They utilized the space, and to access it, you just take this front panel and you can just pop it right off. It is sometimes a little hard, but you can take it off just like that, and then you gain access of our interior, which, like I said, is pretty spacious given the size of the set. Now, starting off, you have the kind of bridge area right here, I guess, which I like a lot, or like the little command center. You can stand or sit a figure. Now, if you stand a figure, you cannot close the top, but if you want to close the top, you have to sit your figure, which is pretty nice. They fit in there pretty well. Now you also have another spot right here, 2 little seating areas, which fits pretty well. You can have a figure on either side. Something that I do really like about this set is that inside there's space for all 5 of the figures, which is really nice. That's not something that we get in some of the sets, and it's always annoying to not have a spot for a figure. So luckily we can fit them all in here. And we also have over here on the right a small rack for weapons and other things like that. Now we'll move on to the cockpit area. Now, something that I do want to complain about with the cockpit area is I think that they could have definitely included space for another minifigure. Unfortunately, as you can see right there, you can only fit 1 minifigure, which isn't terrible. Like I said, you can fit all of your minifigures in here, but I think it would have been cool to have had 2 spots for your minifigures, but 1 does fit fine, fits nicely. I suppose you could cram another one in there, but I mean, I guess they didn't want to try and squish it, which I definitely respect. And that is the interior. Technically, there would be some room for more interior in this back spot, but the Technic kind of contraption took away from that space, so they weren't able to do anything with it, which is kind of a shame. It would have been nice to get a little bit more interior on this set, but I think the interior that we got is pretty sufficient. And now we can move on to, well, I guess before we move on, I'll show you how to reattach this. You have these 2 pillars right here with a single stud, and then your little roof right here connects on these small connector areas, and you just plop it right down and it sits just like that. It's super easy to put on and remove, and that does it for the build of the ship. Now let's move on to the minifigures. Now we move on to the minifigures, which in my opinion is the big draw of this set and probably is the same for all of you, given that it is the minifigures that drive the price of this set so high compared to what it used to be. And the main figure that is driving the price is this Rebels Ahsoka. She has only ever appeared in this set, and I will say I think that she is a great minifigure. Starting off, I think the hairpiece is really, really nice. I like the detailing and all of the different blues. Now it does wear very easily, so do be wary of that if you do end up picking this set up. I do really like the detailing print in the top kind of area as well. I think her face is also very nice, and the detailing on the torso and legs is also pretty nice. The back is very bare, but what do you expect? It is covered up by the hairpiece. But overall, I think this figure is super nice. And another little bit of, I guess, something to point out is the lightsaber color is actually different than the normal blue. Right here we have the normal blue, and this is called a trans medium blue, and this is the normal trans blue. So I think that's really nice that they gave her the different colors, and I think it looks really cool. It definitely does add a lot to the figure just to have that different lightsaber coloring. And I think Ahsoka is a super sick minifigure, and she definitely is one of the high, or not even one of, she is without a doubt the high point of this set. Our next minifigure is Ezra Bridger. I don't have much to say about him because this is a version that we've seen in many other sets. I will cut some slack given that this is an older minifigure, but there definitely was some use for some more details, and there's not really much for me to say. It's a very basic figure. I like that they included his lightsaber in that fun little like binocular piece to signify when he had it as like a gun and a lightsaber. That was pretty cool. And I know there are people out there complaining when this actually was out on shelves, the hair color, it's black, and in the show it's kind of like a weird like blue kind of color, but overall I think this minifigure is pretty nice, and I don't have much else to say about it. Next up, we have another one of the more expensive figures, not as expensive as Ahsoka, but we have Commander Sato. I think this is a pretty nice minifigure. Is lacking in some detail, but I do think, you know, it was 2016 and it was for a Rebels, which was animated, so I think that this did kind of, it does the job. I think the Commander Sato minifigure is pretty cool. I'm just really happy to have Commander Sato in Lego form because I think his character was super sick, so it's really nice to have a version of him. Now, a lot of people do not like the face, and I think the skin color is a little odd, but Commander Sato's skin was like that kind of odd-ish kind of color, so I think this is the closest that Lego could have gotten with the colors that they do produce. Overall, I think it's a pretty nice figure, and I'm happy to add this one to the collection. Next, and our last of the real figures, we have an Agent Kallus. I think this figure looks really, really cool. I really love the helmet piece that is included with this guy. It makes him look really sick, really menacing. I do really like the helmet. And overall, I think it's a really nice figure. The high point definitely being the helmet. Torso has some very minimal detailing, and the legs are just plain black if we flip it around. Torso has some other little detailing, but the helmet also has some nice printing on the back. I think this figure was pretty nice, a pretty nice one. I think that the helmet is definitely the high point of this figure, and the rest is kind of could use some more detail, but it definitely gets the job done. And our last minifigure, well, some people won't call it a minifigure because it is an astromech droid. It is Chopper, and I'm a big fan of this one. I know it was pretty divided, but definitely compared to the new Chopper that we got with the Ghost, this version is definitely my favorite. I think just the overall printing and detail is very nice. You even have the printing on the top, the little ring going around. This is a really nice one. This one was also seen in some other sets as well, not exclusive. The only exclusive minifigures for this set, if I'm not mistaken, are Commander Sato and Ahsoka, which are both great minifigures. And that does it for this review. Let me know if you ever own this set and if you think that it is worth the $500 that it does go for today. And let me know your thoughts on this set and the minifigures included in this set. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew signing out.